Photography chat with Merlin. Photography chat with Merlin.
All right, welcome to another episode of Photography Chat with Merlin. We're season 3, episode 30, and we've got Travis with us today. You want to take a moment to say hi to the folks there?
Hey, my name's Travis Cannady. Yeah.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Travis. I've been following your work for a while, and you've also been sharing a ton of my work and also other people's work. So, I just want to say I really appreciate that because it's nice to help support the community and share each other's good work out there.
Yeah, no, I try, with especially on Instagram, like the algorithm is so fucking shitty now. So I don't see any people's work, and I figure people don't see work as well. So figured I'd share it.
Yeah, I mean, fucking algorithm, right?
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of people are upset and angry, and like I've been seeing a lot of these like, make Instagram again posts, which I honestly have to admit is a little bit triggering because it reminds me of like the MAGA stuff. So it's just like,
Yeah, I just kind of ignore it. I'm just like, it is what it is. I'll stay here until it's completely dead, and hopefully there's something else, or it does get better. But I was a
sorry, go ahead.
Like with Instagram, I was a full-on holdout. I did not want anything to do with it at first, but now I love it. I met so many people and in the community and everything, so I'm happy to have it. What we have, but it's gone to shit.
Yeah, I have to agree with that too. Like, it in some ways it has gone to shit. But I was just talking to a friend about this the other day because we were sort of going back and forth about this granary thing that's out now and how upset everyone is about Instagram and everything. But for me, the most important part of Instagram is still there. And for me, that's the people on it and the communities that are on it.
Mm-hmm.
And even with all of the shitty updates and like whatever Instagram has done, the community still exists and persists, even if it's begrudgingly so. Like the people are still here and the eyeballs still exist here. And in a way, I personally kind of see Instagram as like one of the most democratic social media platforms out there because I haven't seen any other social media platform so far where the owners of it didn't update to it. And then because of backlash from the users, they've had to like go and be like, oh, sorry, that was just oops, we were just joking around kind of thing. I haven't seen that on any other platforms other than Instagram where like, I was just talking with a guy at lunch about this where the day that Instagram tried to do the side scrolling and everyone just like lost their fucking shit about it. And like hours after releasing it, Instagram's like, oh, sorry, that was a bug. We didn't mean that. Here's regular scrolling back. It's just kind of been interesting for some of the really big things. The power that we have as users on it to force Meta and Instagram's hand on what they do with the platform. And, I think that's something that a lot of us don't realize is just actually how much power we have on this platform to force them to shape it.
Yeah, no, like, for my personal stuff, I kind of joined the whole granary thing, kind of check it out, but we'll see how that goes, It looks promising, but I don't know until it's fully out, it's still, like, early beta. So, plus it's, like, one guy working on this thing, so I give him the whole respect of trying this thing. But one thing Instagram I kind of don't like is the fact that it's just turning into TikTok, which I'm fucking almost 34. Like, I don't need to be making little short videos and shit of dancing and whatnot. 'Cause that's really all I get views and stuff. And for photography, all I see now is just reels, like 2 seconds of like 10 photos going real fast. And I'm like, I actually want to look at this. I have to look through that video like 10 times so you can see one photo.
Yeah, I have to agree. That's annoying. Like,
So,
I
yeah.
find that sort of shitty of how it's going. But I mean, like, I'm 40. I have a mild TikTok addiction, so like the reels don't really bother me too much.
Yeah, that's where I'm like, I did not want to get into it because I don't want to be suckered into it and go in that wormhole.
Dude,
but
it's a weird
Instagram's enough, you know.
It's a weird wormhole,
Yeah.
and like the algorithm there is interesting because according to TikTok, I'm a lesbian that also enjoys car content. Yeah, I'm not upset
Right.
about it, but it's kind of interesting, like the kinds of things that algorithm feeds me, which is just interesting. And I gave this granary thing a chance to, because mostly I just wanted to get my username on there before some other asshole tried to take it. And I, like you, I got to give this guy kudos for, like, you know, basically ripping off Instagram pretty gratuitously. Like, it's,
Yeah.
you know, it should be like
one
granary.
guy doing it and he's doing it better.
Well, yeah, it's like, you know, granary lawsuit pending. But I do have to say, I almost stopped using it before I even started because the main thing that you have to do before you can even post is list your gear. And
Yeah.
I honestly could give two shits about gear. Like, I
don't know. Same here.
I don't want to like jerk off with other people about gear. And it's like, oh my God, you used a Summicron for that photo. It's so amazing. And it's like, whatever. And like, mostly because like I've taken tens of thousands of photos and zero notes. So I don't know what fucking film I used or what camera. It's a picture and I like it.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way with that whole thing too. But I'm like saying, yeah, I'm the same way where like sitting right next to me is, you know, fucking Leica, but you know, I don't give a shit. You know, it has a fucking Voigtlander lens. Like, I don't care about being like a purist and shit. I just got a good deal on the camera for my work, and I like the way it feels. That's all. You know, I can take another photo with a different camera. I'm perfectly happy. You know?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
The gear
but
stuff
like the
gets
whole
weird
thing too.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. The whole thing's nothing up too. Is just like list gear before you can even post anything. I'm like, can I just post stuff then possibly list that later?
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and I feel kind of bad too, because like in a way, I commend this person. I'm assuming it's Kyle, because he tried to do the same thing as MySpace, where he forced everyone to be his friend from the get go. Which I was like,
he's the new Tom.
Yeah, I was like, nice move, Kyle, but you'll never be Tom. I unfriended him. I'm sorry, Kyle. If we can, if you want an episode and you want to talk about Granary sometime, you know, DM me on Instagram if you still use it, or DM me on Granary. I'm on your app too. But I just worry a little bit about like gatekeeping and elitism, because like everyone's upset that Instagram has gone away from just pictures, but you know, there's just as many talented photographers who choose to use digital as there are film, probably even more so digital photographers over film photographers, because like, you know, let's be honest, film photography is a fucking privilege. Like, you know, not everyone can afford the madness that so many of us decide to plow hundreds or thousands of dollars into, but that doesn't negate the talent of other people. And I kind of find that's a little maybe unfair with the Granary approach. It's like, it's a good idea bringing it back to pictures, but I think alienating digital photographers is also going to reduce the amount of people he could get on board with the app, because there's probably I don't know, 5-6 times as many digital photographers as there are film photographers. So why not have a broader addressable market? So I hope that changes.
Yeah, I don't know if you listen to like Analog Talk at all,
No.
because he was just on there for an episode, and he was just talking about how down the road he kind of want to look into like a broader umbrella under this and do like something for digital people as well, or have an option there where you can do digital and film and just like toggle like what you want to look at.
I don't know though. I don't want there to be segregation.
But at the same time, yeah, that's what I kind of felt too. So,
because it's like, it's still saying that one is better than the other. Like, I want us all to be able to drink from the same photography fountain.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was like an interesting start to the chat there, but reeling it back to talking about you. What got you going with photography? What got you interested in it?
I mean, you want me to start beginning, or just
when you were a wee toddler, we can start there if you want to go that back.
I mean, born in '88, so I grew up in the '90s. So film was all there was until the 2000 digital boom. But it was like nothing, in my mind of like, okay, this is just photos, even when when I saw my first digital camera, I'm like, this looks like shit to me. So I was like, no. And then later on, stuff got better, so I ended up getting a digital camera and shooting with that. My first digital camera was some Canon point and shoot that I actually found in a parking lot, just randomly, just sitting there.
Did it have film in it when you found it?
It was a digital point and shoot.
Oh, digital point and shoot. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
Did it have pictures on the memory card?
No, it was completely empty. There's a memory card in there, no name, nothing within it. So I was like, cool. Guess this is mine. There's like an empty parking lot. So I was like, there's no way to find who this belongs to. And I'm usually, I'm not someone that builds anything, but like, okay, this is mine now, as a teenager.
It's not stealing it. So, it's not stealing it if the universe is giving it to you. Like,
Yeah. So, I shot with that thing until that thing broke, basically, for like another year and a half. And then asked for my graduation for a digital camera, and my parents were like, are you sure you want that or a car? And I was like, nope, I want a camera. So, went from there. Then I always had like film in the back of my mind though. By then I was 18 when I graduated, have a job. So I was like, I'm going to buy a camera of my own. And I bought a Nikon FM for my first film camera. And guy there showed me how to load it, gave me Kodak film, and I shot that thing and then shot a bunch of rolls. But never got anything from that camera ever developed.
Really?
Just sat in a drawer. Yeah. And then ended up basically selling that camera and my digital stuff all to my brother, who was taking some college classes, older brother. And I was like, I'm done with photography in general. Like, I had nothing to do, did not want anything to do with it anymore. And then ended up moving out where I was, back into my parents, and he got me back into taking some classes and stuff, and I ended up getting back into photography because of him. So, ended up, he was trying to give me back the stuff that he bought from me, and I was like, no, that's yours. And then we went to a Goodwill, and I found a Canon E1.
Nice.
And that was the camera that I learned on, basically, and actually saw photos.
That's quite the start. So
do
you still have the rolls of film that you didn't get developed from that camera?
No.
Wild.
And I'm kind of pissed, especially that first roll. It's probably, if I did get it, developed, it would probably look like shit. But that first roll had walking in this neighborhood, and there was this cat that was walking up to me. So I got on my belly and started taking photos of it. Normal beginner, just taking photos of random crap. But all of a sudden I notice something hanging from its mouth, and it's a mouse tail, and then it drops it in front of me and starts devouring it. And that was what was on the roll. Yeah.
Damn, those would have been
But
some cool
I
photos.
never saw it, but that moment's in my mind forever. So yeah.
Well, I mean, sometimes as photographers, I don't know if you feel this way sometimes, but there's like some images that you see that are just brain pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah. To this day, sometimes I just skip even taking a photo. I'm just like, either I'm too lazy to pull out the camera or whatever, but we're just passing me, and I'm like, cool, at least I saw it.
yeah.
And I'm happy with that. So if
Yeah.
I see something similar to it again, then maybe I'll take a photo. But
Tanoia has a question here. What is your favorite film?
fuck. Color or black and white. So
Let's do both. Yeah.
All right. Favorite black and white would have to be Kodak XX Eastman
Nice.
XX. Shot with that for a couple of years, bulk loading it myself, and then but like currently right now I've been shooting a lot of Fomapan 400. And then for color, it was Portra 800, but it is way too expensive now. Fuck that shit.
Oh my God. The
And
Kodak film price hikes, just, it's not even single tier. It's just like constant stream of tears.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, even with black and white, I'm just like, that's why I'm shooting, like, trying to experiment with some other cheaper alternatives with, like, Fomapan, which I'm absolutely loving.
Dude,
and
Fomapan
then
400
also,
is solid.
Yeah, I love that. And then I mainly shoot black and white, so also another really good black and white is going to be Oro N75, which is the same thing that's Berlin, Paloma Berlin.
Okay.
But that is not being produced right now because they are dealing with a bunch of crap over at Oro right now. So yeah, it's really hard to get hands of. But even the thermography branded stuff.
Wild. What is the thing I was thinking of there? Sorry. Eastman Double X is all like that's a great film. Like I love using that one a lot myself. Have you tried the Ferrania P30?
I have not. No. That was one that I was interested in. Just never jumped the gun on it.
The P30 is fucking awesome, but also really mean. Like if you don't nail your exposure with it, it punishes you. But if you get it right, it's so good.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of other people's stuff, developed a lot of other people's stuff because I work at a photo lab and I do all the black and white development there, and seen a lot, and a lot of people just don't know how to shoot it right.
Yeah.
And also the developer we're using, there's like no times for, so I have to like figure all this shit out myself and do a lot of research.
Oh damn.
Yeah. But I think the new developer we're on actually has times for it.
Well, that's good then. Tanoia also asks, have you tried Rolly films?
Personally, no. But that's another thing. Like I like bulk loading, and the bulk rolls of that are kind of expensive. So.
That's fair. I had a pretty long love affair with the Rolly Paul and Reinhold double pack. It was like the anniversary edition or whatever, and it was a 640 ISO black and white that came in a 2-pack. One was labeled Paul, the other one was labeled Reinhold, and the camera store that I bought all my stuff from was selling it pretty cheap for a while, so I just picked it up all the time, and that was a really cool black and white film. That was a lot of fun to use.
Yeah, no, I've never tried that, but that's another one I've developed quite a few rolls of too. So
Nice. How long have you been working at the lab for?
I've been working at this lab for, it's just a local camera store, and we started off as just like a mini lab, and I've been working there for 5 years. I did the mini lab for about 2.5 years, and then started the black and white lab, dip and dunk, right after that, and I've been doing that.
Very cool.
And it's not a like what you think of like dip and dunk. You know, it's a full automated process. This is by hand, the old way, putting it on reels, putting it in a trap, and I'm doing about 30 rolls at a time.
Holy shit. So does that mean you can charge extra by being like, this is artisanal film processing, you know?
It's whatever the price is the company sets, so I wish.
But I mean, you guys could market it that way, and like hipsters would. It's like, why use the like soulless dip dunk machine when you can have your film processed with heart by hand by a film photographer that loves this shit?
Yeah, nah, it's whatever the owners and stuff want to do. But it's a company, Mike's Cameras. They're based out in Colorado, and they have like 3 stores there. And everything that we do, we have to do exactly like them. So, it's frustrating. And I've had to fight them on like chemistry and stuff because I don't like the chemistry they're using, and I want to use other stuff because it works better. But they're gung ho like, no, it's Kodak only. And I'm like, Kodak's fixer is fucking shitty. I do not want to use a hardener because you don't need a hardener for a rapid fix, but you need it for the Kodak shit.
That's kind of fucked up. You know, Slouch says here,
so it's more, it's more chemistry to use, and it's more waste. And I had to fight them on the developer I'm using too, because we were using T-Max RS, and then Kodak discontinued that in the big batches for lab developments, and so we had to switch over. I believe they switched over to D76, but I was like, no, because that's expensive. It doesn't last long. And I did research, and I was like, all right, let's switch over to Xol for right now if they want to stay in Kodak. So, it's easier to mix. It's super, safe, and basically just vitamin C.
Yeah, that's fair. You know, Slouch says you could call it bespoke film processing, and then your tagline can be chemicals from salty photographers added free with every order.
But there's so they're just doing 3 stores in Colorado, and then we have 5 stores in California, and I get all the black and white from all the stores, and it's just me.
Holy shit.
So I develop about 300 to 600 rolls within.
Do they do like a profit sharing thing with you or something on that? Because that sounds like a lot of work.
I get paid hourly.
Damn.
Yeah. But I'm one of the highest lab techs in our stores for California. So it evens out, but it's still shitty.
Does some film just like magically disappear into like, the Travis Film Fund, and you just
wish, but no. No. Like we don't get like free rolls or anything. So I know some labs will do that, or like free development. We get basically anything in our store that's not like a certain like set thing for the company. We basically get everything at cost. So I get all film at cost, which is nice. So say if I like want like a color roll of portrait, I'm basically spending what people were spending full price a year ago right now.
Which is
compared
still
to like,
too
the
expensive.
gigantic price. It's still expensive. Yeah. But black and white's pretty cheap. I keep trying to push people to, even though I have a huge workload, I'm like, people need to shoot more black and white. They keep complaining about this shit. And gives me more business, and I can expand more.
I was harassing Tim Ryugo yesterday on text, being like, "Why can't I get any fucking portrait?" It's all gone everywhere. Like I was trying all the places, like fucking freestyle B&H, the local places around me. It's like gonzo.
Yeah, I still have some rolls, but the last like two rolls of Porta 800 I shot was back in 2020 for a shoot I was doing, and that's basically how I'm keeping it. And like, if this is something I'm taking like portraits or something of someone, I'll keep it for that. It's not going to be just a throw it in my plate and shoot kind of. So
That's not too bad. Tanoy also says they'd love to learn film processing one day, and that be black and
it's
white
easy.
is much easier to do it.
It's easy.
Yeah, there's tons of great YouTube videos on how to do it. You can buy kits and stuff, but like, you know, the Patterson tanks are pretty easy. Like, you know, I'd probably suggest like pick up a 2-reel Patterson tank in a dark bag and get a cheap roll of film that you can destroy and just like practice taking the film out, putting it into the reels. And, I mean, the chemical process is pretty easy. I think Patterson even makes like a full kit where it has like all the beakers and like all the shits to do
Yeah.
the whole.
Yeah, I believe they even like. I think they have one where it's actually teamed up with Filtered as well, where they give you like the beginning, thing. But to be honest, I would just buy everything, the kit without the chemistry, and just buy the chemistry separate because the chemistry they give you is like good enough for 2.
Yeah. Like it's super easy because it's already pre-measured out. So if you're like worried about, trying to fuck around with them, a friend of mine got one of those Ilford kits for free from like a conference, and she gave it to me. She's like, I don't fuck with this kind of stuff. So it was kind of cool to play with. I'm like, this is neat for people that have never really played around with it before. And then I've also heard like the mono bath is supposed to be pretty cool, but I don't know if I believe in that witchcraft. So
I've tried it. It looks great for double X, but that's what it was designed for. And other than that, I don't care for it personally. I don't really trust it, but I just prefer, doing a one-shot development and do the normal, stock fix.
Yeah, it's relaxing sometimes to develop film. I don't know if it's like relaxing at the volume you're doing it at. But,
Actually, I don't mind it, except I don't see the light of day that much. So, because I'm using open tanks that are meant for doing dip and dunk, like 4x5 and 8x10. So they're about 4-gallon tanks of chemistry. So I'm in pitch black room with a very dim timer, and I'm just listening to a podcast or music while I'm doing it, and go along. And I pretty much know the whole route, with muscle memory, and I know the whole room exactly. So if I forgot a reel for this roll, I know exactly where to go to grab one.
Dude, you're like all set to work at Kodak because like there's those areas at Kodak where it's like completely like dark and like you're already acclimatized. So if you get to the lab game, hit up Matt at Kodak and be like, "Yo, you hiring?"
Yeah, that'd be awesome, but I don't think I want to leave California personally, but I've been here all my life.
That's fair. California is a beautiful place. It's what part of California are you in?
In Sacramento, California, but I would love to, move to the coast eventually. But it's expensive, even living here. So.
That's north of the Bay Area.
California.
Yeah, it's right by like Vacaville, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I love the rolling hills out there. That's a pretty cool thing.
Oh yeah. Don't really see much or get out of here much because obviously I don't have a car because I didn't get one for graduation, and I was too lazy and just focused on photography that I just never even got my license or anything. So I'm just like, fuck it, I'm gonna hook it on my feet and take a bus or train everywhere I go. I get to see more shit and take more photos.
That's definitely one way to look at it. Like, take advantage of
That's,
those things.
now I'm really wanting to get it and stuff so I can go other places now.
That's
I'm
fair.
tired of just being stuck at home after work and stuff. Especially after getting COVID a couple weeks ago, I'm just like, I don't want to be around anyone really.
Dude, it
Yeah.
sucks. Like I caught it the other weekend and like I was out of commission all last week. I did an episode of the chat last week, but I don't really remember doing it. I think I was coherent, kind of, maybe. And then like this week I've just been like super fatigued and like space cadet. Like yesterday I felt fine. Today I woke up, dropped my car off at Volvo, and then got home and I was like, I have a headache and I feel like I'm dying. I can't focus on anything right now. Cool.
Yeah, like after the 10 days for me, I was still feeling it for like another week. Just, the whole COVID brain bullshit. I was just forgetting everything. And I'm like, is this just old age or is it because of COVID?
Probably
Either way, I'm
COVID.
fucked.
Yeah, I mean, we're all kind of fucked right now. Like, it's kind of interesting how at the end of the pandemic, everyone's getting sick with COVID, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like it's not over at all.
What? No, I just heard from my roommate today. I guess there's another variant going around, and I'm just like, oh, great.
Yeah, like the newest one is kind of fucked because the first one had like a replication factor of like 3, and then everyone was like freaking out with Omicron because it had like a replication factor of 5, and they're like, oh, it's like 2 times worse than the last one, and that was like a big panic. But this latest one, it has like a replication factor of 16. And they're like, well, I mean, if 5 was bad, 16's better, right? Because it's a bigger number.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's weird because, like, myself and, like, a lot of friends and stuff want to be safe. You want to, like, do the right thing. But then at the same time, it's like, fuck, how, like, you can't just like put life on hold forever until this thing fucks off. Like it's finding a balance, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's where I'm like, this last weekend I said, fuck it, I'm going to this meetup my buddy was doing. It was the first one too, so I was like, I need to go. It's early in the morning too, and it shouldn't be too big. It ended up being like, I think like 40 people there, and I'm like, cool, I expected like 5, and he expected like no more than 10. So yeah, and of course none of us were wearing masks and shit, but it was everyone I knew. So I'm like,
So you just kind of had like a Ralphie from The Simpsons moment where he's like, I'm in danger.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely had some of those, and it's like I've been planning this trip down to Texas this fall for PolaCon because I haven't been able to go to PolaCon in a couple of years now, thanks to all of this, and I miss my pals, and it's just like, is this the safest thing to do? But then it's also like, whatever, like. If I stay here and just like go to my grocery store or like, just go about my everyday life, the risk is just as bad as probably going to Texas. I mean, there's lots of other risky things in Texas, but, and speak of the devil, there's Tim right there, the Kodak man.
Yeah, no, I've, known about the whole PolaCon thing for quite a while, especially like, as soon as I got into Polaroid, I, pretty much it was like shortly after that I learned about PolaCon. I'm like, oh, this is cool. One day maybe I'll go. Never went, still, but and still haven't gone to the SF one that they do now. I was supposed to go to the first one, but with everything happening, I was like, I'm gonna play it safe and not go, but I can't be, the survivors or whatever you're saying.
Well,
before,
so that was I went. That was the last PolaCon I went to, was the Bay Area one, and a few of us were talking when we got there, being like, "Was this the right choice? Are we being irrational right now? Like, this seems kind of dangerous." And then like my friend Brian and I, we were like, him and his partner and I were sharing a bunk bedroom at a hostel there, and we were just like, this seems like a bad idea, but also it seemed like the last time we'll probably be able to travel in a really long time. So we were just like, fuck it, let's just throw caution to the wind and see what happens. And you know, we were there the weekend that San Francisco started rolling up, and that was fucked up to watch, because like, you know, I spent a lot of time in San Francisco and I've never seen the city die like that before. It was weird.
Yeah, no, like at work, my buddy and I were gonna go, and he used to live in Pinole, and we were gonna go with him and his partner, and we just heard like a lot of our stores were closing down because of this, and then we're like, we have PolaCon this weekend. Are we gonna go? We'll play it by ear. And then finally, like that day up, we're just like, nah. And then it was literally a couple of days later we shut down as well here.
That was a weird time.
I'm kind of glad I didn't go, but at the same time, you know, there's like so many people there. You know, I could have met in person like you. I could have met the guys from like Eric and Vanya from All Through Lens, and so many people I talk to now that have gone to that, and I just missed out.
I was talking to Brian recently, and I was bugging him, being like, yo, you got to make some shirts for like the OG like Bay Area peeps, where it's like, you know, I survived PolaCon Bay Area 1 and all I got was this lousy shirt. Yeah, I'd pay for that shirt. It was funny, like there was a lot of us there, but everyone was just kind of like, oh shit, this could be bad. And like it was fucking weird for me, because like when I left Toronto, there's like no talk of like isolation or like whatever. Like it was like, oh, there's this bad flu going around. And then when I got back, they're like, you have to go home and stay by yourself for 14 days because you left the country. And I'm like, what the fuck now? Like, it was super weird. What a time.
Yeah, and this last one too, I was going to go by myself and just take a train down, but I was stuck at home, pretty much paralyzed. In end of February, I got sciatic nerve damage.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so I've just been kind of recovering. I was out of work for about 2 weeks. So.
Damn.
But yeah, I was pretty much just hunched over completely. Couldn't straighten my back for the first week.
Holy shit, that sounds brutal. Sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and this last weekend, that meetup that I went to was like the first time I actually like shot my Leica since then. So, because even just the weight of that, which is not that too heavy of a camera, it's just too much weight for me to even add on to my body. So I've just been shooting with a point and shoot, which I had to build up to that too. So I was like super afraid, like I'm like, shit, am I never going to take a photo again or what, you know?
Man, that'd be such a terrifying thing to have to face.
Yeah. So yeah, I was just bedridden. I'm like, yep, nope, can't go to this, and it's fucking shitty though. Well, I saw like so many people there. It was fucking popping. I was watching all the live videos and stuff, and
yeah, I missed it this year too, because we still had the requirement when you were coming back into Canada to have to test and have like a negative result. And like the week after they removed that requirement, but like the week the PolaCon was happening, that requirement was a thing. And I was just like, I can barely afford to stay in San Francisco for like the 4 days I'll be there for PolaCon. It's like, if I have to stay there for like 14 days to isolate, if I get a positive result, I'm like, I can't fucking afford that. That shit would like bankrupt me. So I didn't go to PolaCon because of that, you know.
Yeah. Also too, yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it was the first time I felt FOMO like in years. So it was just like,
Oh,
yeah, everyone was like, show like there was like the Policon like freaking frat house nights going on out there. It looked wild.
mm-hmm. Yeah, no. Plus, even if the whole sciatic thing didn't happen, I would have felt weird going because my XX70 no longer the sonar doesn't work, so I don't even shoot it anymore.
Shit.
So I'd be there with like my not to go the Mint RF70, but that'd be my only instant camera that I have right now. So
I mean, that's still a pretty ballin' instant camera, man.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, but it's
you're like,
Policon.
oh, I'm just gonna have my RF70.
Hey, I only have it because of governmental money, so.
Well, I mean, there. So that's what you
Yeah.
spent your Stimmy money on.
Yeah, that and Fuji Class
Ooh,
point and shoot. But it's the original one, not the S or W.
I mean,
So it was a little cheaper.
still nice camera.
Yeah, it was still.
Yeah, you should like. Brandy says she showed up with just an Instax Mini, so like whatever. Like it's the Instant Film Society, so even though it's called Policon, all instant film is welcome.
Yeah. Other than that, I got during the whole Gimme Money stuff, I got a Mamiya Universal, which I can't even fucking shoot that now because the weight issue.
Yeah, that's a heavy bitch.
Yeah, it's been sitting there, and I just got a peel apart back for it. It was like brand new old stock one too. So
now, if only Brooklyn Film Camera would stop charging so much damn money for pack film.
Yeah, no, I was gonna splurge and talking about too much money. Splurge and get the one step, not the one step, the one shot stuff from Super Sense.
It's good stuff. I like it.
Yeah,
this was a shot that
like,
I took a couple weeks ago with it.
Yeah,
it's not perfect.
Like what I want. No, it's not. But what I like about it is it's the from their knowledge, it's the same chemistry as 669. So, which is my favorite Polaroid film.
Yeah, they've made the chemistry as close as they can. So it's like it's new chemistry, it's a new negative, but it's old stock. The positive, which is why it gives that sort of like janky look, and I kind of dig it honestly. Like I like that it's a little janky.
And I like when they produced it, everyone was all shitting on how it's not a pack. Why is there not 10? Why isn't there 3 in the shot or whatever? But I'm like, even when Polaroid started doing all this stuff, they had some that were just single shots or just 8 shots in the pack of certain things. It was never always just 10. That just became a standard later.
But I mean, it goes back to like what we were talking about at the start here, where people are upset about Instagram. It's just like, it's never good enough. It's like, well, I don't like it. I want it to be how it used to be. And whatever. Shut up. I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
And I dig it. I like the one instant stuff. It smells a little fucking weird when you develop it, but you'll learn that when you try it.
Yeah. Even though I don't like the prices that Brooklyn Film Camera is doing with a lot of the pack film, but one thing is that they do get, at least they've gone at once now, is the one instant stuff in their store. You don't have to pay that like $30 shipping fee.
Yeah.
Just to get 3 packs, which is nice. But at the same time, I'm like, do I really want to support this, thing where they're kind of raising prices here?
Well, and I like Ben a lot. I think Ben is a really great guy. And then when I saw that announcement, I was like, no.
Yeah. No, and like I've talked to Kyle from Brooklyn Film Camera and everything. And he's a nice guy, but I'm just like the company itself. I'm like,
Yeah, well, whatever, fucking capitalism, right? Supply and
Yep.
demand.
Yep.
Yeah,
No,
it's
and
just,
also I get, he's in New York, so shit's gonna be pricier and stuff. And I'm like, what about the rest of it?
well, I mean, that's your fault for not living in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, grinders got to grind, right? I understand their like business practice and the need for them, and I'm glad that they're successful and stuff. But it's like, I'm still a little salty though, because like it's made it impossible for some people to approach it, and then I'm also a little salty with them because I sent them an SLR 680 like way back in the day to have a service done on it, only because they promised it would be fixed in a certain time frame. And I was like, I'll get it back when we agreed, right? Because like I'm planning a trip that I want to bring this on. They're like, yeah, 100%. So I spent a lot of money to like send it to them and like get it, because Canada, like shipping anything from here to the US sucks, a massive bag of dicks.
Oh yeah.
And then it was like they were behind on what they said. And then they're like, oh, you'll get it by this day. And I'm like, cool, that's when I get back from my trip. The whole point of why I trusted you guys with my camera and my money was because you said you'd have it done for me before I started my trip. Yeah, so that kind of bummed me out. And I was like, this was expensive, and you lied to me. I don't like when people lie.
I mean, besides that, though, did they do a good job with it, or?
I mean, it was okay. The flash started being intermittent like a year later, but I took it to someone else, and they did a good job, and haven't had any issues with it since then. So,
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm on the fence of sending mine out to them, but
send it
trying
to
to find someone else.
send it to Retrospect.
All right, yeah, I'll check them out.
Yeah, they're a real company. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was mean. I apologize. You're all real companies, and you all have hopefully good intentions, but I try Retrospect. There's some other people that were doing repairs, but I think most of them have like taken a hiatus, because like my friend Zane was doing a lot of them, but I think he got in over his head a little bit with it and had to sort of like dial back a lot. And then there's like one other guy that was doing it that recently stopped too. But I've heard good things about Retrospect, and they also have some really fucking cool limited Polaroids in there, like Arsenal there. Like they got this like glow in the dark box camera, which I'm not like a super huge fan of box cameras, but it's this like semi-translucent, but then also glows in the fucking dark, and
Okay.
I think it's like $200.
That's cool.
And I'm like, that's way too much for a box camera, but also it's like see-through and it glows in the fucking dark.
But would it be practical to shoot?
Yeah,
Or is it just a shelf piece?
no, it's one you can shoot, because
Yeah.
the translucent parts aren't where the image is. So it's not like, because there's those really cool completely see-through box cameras, which are completely useless because you can't actually run film through them because they're completely translucent. This one's not like that. I think the only part that's like translucent is the flash head. So it has like clear plastic on the flash head, but everything else is just like white that glows in the dark. And I don't know what it is about shit that glows in the dark that's like makes you want to spend money. Like,
I'm just wondering though, with the flash part being clear, when you let it go off, do you blind yourself as well?
I didn't think about that, because the flashes on those like old box cameras are evil as fuck. Like, it's especially the 680. When I take close-ups of people with it, I call it the sun shitting in your eyeballs. It's just like so vicious. And this is probably a really like sadistic thing, but one of the things that I find amusing is taking like close-up portraits of people when it's like somewhat dark out with the 680 because it's got the sonar autofocus, so it's like it doesn't need light to focus on it, and you could be like, hey, look over here, and they're like, what? And you're like, click. It's like
Yeah, I like those sonars because you can be in a pitch black room and you're good, you know, and then light off a flash and you're like, all right, cool, in focus, like I'm good.
yeah, exactly. They're just a fucking cool camera. So you should still come to Policon anyways if you could swing it sometime, even if you just have the RF70.
Yeah, I'll try and see if I can get the time off. You know, I'm actually working on getting everything I need to be able to travel and everything on planes and everything right now. So
Nice.
trying to get a real ID, everything. First, I need to get my actual ID so I can get that. Mine's been expired for like 4 years.
Damn, man.
So,
yeah, you gotta get on top of that shit.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention, and I was like, shit, my ID's been expired for like a year. And then shit happened.
Yeah, I mean, life gets lifey sometimes. It's hard to like stick through. I'm curious though, what have been some of your more like favorite photography things you've worked on, like a favorite photo or like a favorite project or something that just like, you know, stands out in your mind or that you think about?
To be honest, right now, it would be the zine that I made from the last shoot I did, which I actually have copies on my website for. And then my newest zine that I made, they're like my favorite work that I've ever made right now. But like the newest zine was originally going to be a book, but that just is way too expensive. So I dumbed it down and I just picked photos from 2 different cameras that I shot in the last couple of years, and that was it. For this,
That's
and
pretty
it's
cool.
basically this is the precursor to eventually a book. You know, what those images.
I mean, books are a lot of fun. I'm definitely a huge supporter of people making photo books and stuff. So, you know, and what got you into zine making?
Well, I grew up going to like punk shows and stuff as a kid, so I always saw zines being like handed out and everything. First zine I saw was something my brother brought home when he was going to punk shows before me, and he's like, "Oh, check this out," you know, and then he took me to a show afterwards. But I was like, "The fuck is this shit? Like, what's this guy with these like spiked hair, mohawk thing?" It was like weird, but to me, and I was like, "All right, you know, I like the music already," so he just ended up taking me, and I was like, I fell in love with all this shit, and from there, I just kind of that's where I kind of knew zines were. Never wanted to make them myself. But from that, getting into photography, the second time, that's when I started like seeing like photo zines and stuff, especially with film. Mostly on like I see like a random like YouTube thing where they're talking about, oh, I made this zine. I think it was forgetting his name, like Nate Meadows. Forgot his last name, but made a zine and everything, and then became friends with Nick Mayo, Nick Exposed.
Okay.
And he was talking about doing the zine, and I was at the same time. So he kind of we're talking to each other and really kind of like pushing each other to make zines at the same time.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, and he went more of a professional route, and I went more of like, I'm going to print this myself and hand staple everything myself. And
I'm starting to see a theme here with you, with like the artisanal, bespoken things. Like, yeah.
Yeah. That is the only one I've done like that, and it was god awful. So it's been, but I was like bored as shit in class. I was taking a gallery operation class, and I was basically sitting on the gallery on campus just watching it while people would walk around and look at art and just make sure people weren't poking with pencils and shit.
Do people actually do that?
I haven't had any students or guests do it other than one teacher on the campus, one of the professors.
A professor did it.
Yeah, she was touching a piece of artwork with the tip of her pencil, and I yelled at her, and she got all pissy at me and was talking to the person that was running the gallery, like, "Well, you can't have your student talking to me like this and stuff." And she's like, "Who was it?" And told him. And she's like, "Good. That's what I told him to do." Yeah.
Yeah, she fucked around and found out. So,
Yeah. Nah, and like my roommate, he's an artist as well, and he went to some gallery 2 weekends ago or something like that, and that same professor was at that gallery with a pencil in her hand, poking, touching artwork.
What the hell is
And he
wrong
almost
with
yelled at
people?
her. Well, I don't know, but it was like, I think this was the gallery that she's kind of like a co-op, like collaborative thing there, like collective thing that she's a part of, but it was someone else's work she does this to, not her own stuff, which is, even so, it's like, don't touch the shit.
Yeah, it's
like,
kind of rude.
Even if like, yeah, like you can make a mark and make an actual like pinhole and like a painting or something. It's disrespectful.
Wow, some fucking people. Do you have any projects that you've got on the go that you're excited about, or like,
Personal stuff. Well, first off, I have so I run Better Off zines, and I'm working on issue 7 right now. With I'm not going to say who it is right now. I'll wait to announce that when I print it, but I'll say it's a former guest of yours. So,
oh, wild.
Yeah. They actually already left a message on here. We were talking earlier. But from that, the work she gave me was frustrating the shit out of me, how to figure out how to lay it out. That
Well, now I
had
know
to, like,
who you're
step
talking
away from
about.
that. Yeah.
I won't say, though. Your secret's safe with me.
Yeah. So that was frustrating the shit out of me. So I was like, you know what, let me look at some old work. I had another idea for a book I was going to do. And I kind of came to the conclusion fuck making a book right now. I'm just going to make a zine. So I've already called it down to like 60 pages instead of the 88 pages that it was going to be.
Okay.
And then from there, I'm like, 60 pages is just too much because I've already done a 60-page zine before. And I'm like, this is too thick. So it might as well just be a book. So I called that down to 32 pages, and I turned it into 3 different zines, all in one day.
Holy shit, that's a lot of work, man.
Yeah. And then and it's all going to be Polaroids. So.
Well, now I really know who you're talking about. So,
Well, this is my personal work right there.
Okay.
So this personal work is going to be Polaroids. So that's going to be 3 zines of my personal stuff. And then I have a 4th one that I'm working on in the series that's going to be Instax wide.
Very cool. Oh, I'm stoked to see those when they come out.
Yeah. Yeah. And which was the original idea was to do a zine with it, but I was like, I have too much shit I want to put in this. So it just became, then it went to a book, and now it's going back. So, which I'm actually happy with it now.
That's fair. I mean, it's important for you to be happy with it.
Yeah. But the company I go through too, so I'm going to do 50 copies, and it's 32 pages color. It's going to be like $200 to print. But
for all of the copies?
For all the copies, yeah.
Damn. So is that hardcover or softcover?
That's just for like a cardstock cover zine. It's all 100-pound weight paper. So.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about a little bit under $5 a copy. So.
That works out really well. I might have to bug you about that later on, because I use Blurb, and I haven't been able to get it that cheap.
I used them once, and I'm not going to use them again. Like, I'm pretty sure they're good for like doing like a hardcover book thing, but just doing zines, it's just too cost effective, too pricey.
Yeah, I'll have to bug you about that because I like the sound of like $5 a book.
Yeah, I've gone through two different companies now. First one was in the UK, and I love them, and I love the recycled white paper I was using, and it was super cheap. But then the pandemic, the wait time for shipping went up, was like drastic, and then I had issues with that. I had stuff getting lost, and I had to do like reprints, and then the shipping costs went skyrocketed.
Mm.
So it's too expensive for me, but that was with awesome merch I was using, which they have a facility in Texas, but they don't do that type of printing.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, which is shitty, because otherwise I would use them still.
I mean, it's the way our world is right now. Everything's kind of changed a lot.
Mhm.
But it's good you've been able to find like a solution that works for you to continue making the zines.
Mhm. Yeah, so now I'm using a company in the U.S., but they've been doing stuff for like 50 years, I
Okay.
believe, 20 years online, but 50 years as a company.
Nice. Well, sounds like they're pretty trustworthy then.
So yeah, but their price has gone up a little bit. So with like Better Off, I was selling them for $10 a piece, and then to make it cost effective for me, I had to raise the price up a little bit, which only raised it by $2, so it's not bad. And then with the shipping and everything, I had to figure all that out, and I'm just starting to do international stuff. So right now I have Canada. I have the UK, Ireland, Japan, and then I think France or Italy. So that I'm doing, and then I'll kind of like weed in other things here and there. Oh, and Germany.
Oh, that's
now.
really cool.
But it's not cheap. So, but I have like basically by weight, it's doing the whole shipping cost.
Nice. Well, and that's cool that you're getting it out to more people. Because, I'm guessing sharing it on Instagram, you get like a worldwide audience on that, and some people have probably been a little disappointed not being able to pick up the zine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I actually have two artists outside of the U.S. that want to work with me. And I've been like, I need to figure this out first before I even think about that. But I would love to, kind of thing. But so those were like two of those countries. I wanted to make sure I got those, and I'm able to figure out like a price. So like international shipping, the cost of the zine plus it's anywhere from $18 to $30, depends on the weight, which I wish I could be less. But I hate doing more than like $15 for shipping. That's what it used to do, and because in the U.S. it's like $4 to $10, to ship from coast to coast, So
Yeah,
to go overseas,
shipping's freaking crazy. Like, sending stuff back and forth between here and the States is like really sucked. But like now that I'm living in Vancouver, I have like a post box in just over the border from here. So it's like I can save a bit of my shipping costs using that because but it's weird because like I use Point Roberts, which is completely inaccessible to the rest of the US unless you come through Canada. You have to come through Canada to get to there, or come across from boat through like the Puget Sound or whatever. And so it's just like, I'm like, how is this $30 less for shipping when it still has to come through the same fucking borders?
yeah. Yeah, no, I highly suggest anyone that is overseas that want to buy any of the zines, either on my main website or on Better Off, to buy multiple zines, just so that way, like, team up with people, if like two of you want, the same zine or something, just go in together to cut costs or something, or buy multiple copies, because that way it makes it more cost effective on your end, but than just buying one, because it's going to be, anywhere from like 10 to, $16 plus the shipping cost. So,
That makes sense. So it's just like, to do a group buy instead.
and all it is just pieces of paper folded together and stapled, like, really. Like, I get it if it's like, a hard, physical big box, thing, but, I'm not shipping like a computer or something.
Well, you're shipping something better than a computer. You're shipping art.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I appreciate you sharing, some of your story, how you got going and what you've been working on. And, it's been a lot of fun chatting with you. I appreciate you taking some time to hang out with me today.
Yeah, it was fun.
Definitely. And I mean, if you don't make it down to PolaCon for Texas in the fall, you should definitely try to make it out for the one next spring, because I think I'm going to definitely try and make it out for that one too.
Yeah, if anything, it'd be most likely next spring. Be the one.
I mean, don't tell the Texans, but maybe San Francisco is a little better than in Texas. Just saying.
Yeah. Nah, but especially like I have no vacation time right now, so.
Well, definitely. Well, maybe we'll catch up next year at PolaCon, but definitely looking forward to seeing, some of these projects you've been talking about. And, if any of you want to check out Travis's projects or Better Off, I'm going to guess there's probably links in your bio to those pages.
Yeah, my main account, there's a direct link to my main website, actually to where you can buy the zines from there. And then if you go to Better Off Zine on Instagram, there's also a link on there as well to get over to there. And then there's like a direct link to the website for that one.
Awesome. Well, hit up his bio if you want to pick up some zines. I'm definitely going to take a look. I've been meaning to grab one of them anyway, so it's just like I just keep spacing out on it. Thanks, COVID brain.
Yeah. Beware though, a lot of my work on my main website is not safe for work, so I'll leave it at that.
Okay, so just be careful, I guess. Then handle with care.
Yeah, there's just some boobs. That's about it. But
I mean, I feel like that's something that people just need to like calm their tits about. Is just that like.
I'm just saying, if the people are at work trying to do this, and just keep on the down low or something, so you don't get in trouble. But that's about it. So.
Yeah, just be careful. You don't want to get fired for looking at boobies at work. So just proceed with caution.
Yeah.
But thanks again, man, for hanging out. And I look forward to like meeting up with you in the film community at some point and shooting some photos together.
Same here, man.
Thanks, dude. Well, I'm gonna let Mr. Mocha walk us out, and hopefully you can dodge COVID a little longer, and stay safe out there.
You too, man.
Thanks, man. And next week is the 100th episode of the chat in all of its entirety, and I'm going to be doing another in studio live. Charles Zuckerman, who's half of Zuckerman Wong Photography, who I was supposed to talk with a couple weeks ago, but he couldn't make it. We're doing an episode just for him, so he's going to come in here and hang out with us and talk about his work, and his partner Zenna might pop in at some point to sort of like, add some comedic insight there. Thanks, Tim, for tuning in and staying with us, and thanks, Brandy. I know, oh my God, it's the 100th episode. I can't believe 100 different people have wanted to like spend an hour or two with me, so it's kind of wild. But thanks everyone for hanging out with me, and stay safe out there, and we'll catch you next week. Cheers, man.